Hey guys, Eric and Roth here. We were outdoors today because there's construction going on inside at IGN LA, but let's get right to it. I'd say this is one of the best episodes of Breaking Bad ever. Confessions.
This was some Shakespeare business.
This is crazy.
This was some Shakespeare business, y'all.
Operatic, Shakespearean. So much going on. I mean, let's think about the fact that that reveal of the video he made, that wasn't the end of the episode.
No, it wasn't. And here's the other amazing thing, is not only how well it ties in to the very first episode.
Yep.
Of the very first
he mentions
confession
the ride-along
that he made.
too. Yeah, the confession video. He mentions the ride-along.
It ties into so many different elements that have been happening through the series, but the whole episode, the theme of confessions and the truth and the malleability of truth is all throughout the episode for every single character. And that's what's amazing to me. Everyone's a liar. Everyone's a bit of a truth teller. Oh, starting with Todd. Yeah. Starting with Todd and the retelling of the Great Train Robbery, where he omits perhaps the most significant event because to him it's irrelevant, murder, you know, of a small boy.
I mean, first he embellishes too because look, it was an amazing crime in and of itself, but he's still embellishing, saying how he jumped off the moving train and making it sound so great. But I'll leave out the fact that, you know, I shot and killed an innocent kid.
Exactly, and I think that when they opened on this, I was like, that scene was so tension-filled. I was just waiting for something to pay off in the scene itself, the little moment of blood. But I think it was just a reflection, again, of this idea of confessions, the truth. What is the truth? Who is a liar? Who is not? We're all a bit of a liar. Except for Jesse.
Right. But, you know, this episode with Walt, I mean, every time we think we've seen Walt at his worst, he manages to impress us, I guess, if that's the word you want to use. So this video, I mean, the fact that he would sit down, you know, this great scene at the restaurant, poor Trent and his guacamole, and no one ever tried the guacamole, but this scene of, you know, let's try to talk it out, but when it doesn't work out, bam, I have, like, this incredible smoking gun video I've made. I am this ruthless. I am this willing to go this far in a way that, you know, even though Hank and Marie have now discovered, oh my God, Walt is doing all this crazy stuff, it's still ethereal to them. It's still not something right in front of their eyes. I think to see that video is just an amazing moment for them because it's like, look at how despicable this person is that was in our lives, that we love.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things I want to call out one of our colleagues, Alan Sepinwall, I loosely say I'm his colleague, but he pointed out something that I thought was very true also, is that how Walt has grown as an actor. Now we know that Bryan Cranston is a great actor, but man, that was like some Emmy award-winning lying on Walt's part. And the interesting thing is that just as Jesse is awakened out of his fog of addiction and despair in that moment by his rage, by the pure honesty of his rage, Walt, I think, is addicted to lying. He cannot stop. He can't stop the facade. He can't stop manipulating because he has discovered his genius. This is his realm of absolute genius. Lying, manipulating, backing people into corners, drug dealing. But he couldn't even do it with Jesse. He couldn't even give him the dignity of saying, in all honesty, yes, get out, I need you to, and if you don't, I'll kill you. Instead, he embraced him.
You know, I think what makes it, also very interesting and keeps it this, keeps Walt a multifaceted character is that as horrible as a man as he's become, you know, he's not 100% monster. You know, he still said, I won't kill Hank because he's family. So yes, I do think there is a part of him that cares about Jesse. I also think there's a part of him that would absolutely kill Jesse if Jesse was threatening him too much.
Absolutely.
And so Jesse was absolutely right in that this is mostly about wanting him out of town, wanting the problem gone. I do think there is a part of Walt that is like, hey, I do care about Jesse. I want what's best for Jesse. But Jesse was absolutely right that let's talk about what's really going on here is you need me gone. And Jesse, whose eyes have, been open and he now understands you killed Mike, you were this ruthless of a person, you'll get rid of me too.
No problem.
No problem.
I mean, little problem with Jesse.
Right.
But he can't stop. He's working everyone. And I think the interesting thing about the episode too is it shows the different ways that he works people. With his son, the cancer's back. I mean, that was gorgeously manipulated.
Oh yeah.
With Hank, it's a full-on threat. Like, F you, Hank and Marie. You may be family and I won't kill you, but I'll destroy you. No questions asked. Then with Skyler, he's a little more goofy. I mean, that was played brilliantly for comedy.
When he pulled up the car and is racing and then just stops to walk in and, oh, I got to look at the soda machine.
Yeah, and he's not as good a liar with Skyler.
No.
It's true. That's been mentioned. But it's really amazing to see these different levels and the ways that he'll lie and the ways that he'll manipulate in the different situations. But what was really gorgeous to me, again, swinging back to Todd, is that Todd was included, I think, because Todd and Jesse are, in a sense, Heisenberg's children,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
They're his two boys. And Jesse, who was pure honesty, pure emotion, pure reaction, pure rage, versus everybody else who's a little bit of a liar, is everything that Walt lost from that first confession, which was haphazard, not well put together, but true, honest,
right.
you know? And Todd, both of them call him Mr. White, both of them this show of strange respect.
Yeah.
You know,
Want
Todd.
to impress him.
Yeah. Todd is everything that he is now, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We talked about last week about sort of that mirror image of Lydia and Todd. And yeah, Todd definitely is this sort of the darkest version of Jesse imaginable.
Absolutely.
You know, so let's talk about Jesse and what happened to him here. You know, he's almost going to leave town, and then he has this epiphany. Now, I know this is sort of, there's a lot of discussion going on with this episode and about Jesse's epiphany. Does it all kind of make sense? Does it all add up? It did work for me when you think back. I think it's really important to think about how close all these events happen together for the characters versus us, where it's not years apart. This has all happened in less than a year.
Sure, it's a very short period of time. And that goes for Hank's reactions to things, too. People have been saying, Hank would have acted faster and gone to his superiors by now. It's not been that long.
Right.
He's still mulling this over.
Yeah, and so, you know, for Jesse, this is only in the past few months that everything happened with Brock being poisoned. Everything happened with Gus, and he's already had his moments. You know, he already went to Walt initially and thought that he was involved in stealing the ricin from him. And Walt had this amazing story about why it wasn't him. So I do think it all works together. The entire story with the poison, I admit, is one of the most convoluted things that's ever happened on Breaking Bad, as far as the ricin, the lily of the valley, the confusion of like how Gus was involved, everything, all the manipulation of Jesse. It's a confusing story, but I do think we're not supposed to think that Jesse has it 100% mapped out, that he's figured out everything. But all he has to do is he's figured out that Walt killed Mike, and he just knows what a vicious person this is, and that's enough. Once he realizes and once he gets the confirmation from Saul that yes, he helped lift that ricin.
The confession from Saul.
Right. Yeah. Even if he doesn't know how Brock was poisoned exactly because it wasn't ricin, he now knows that Walter White is a man who would do this. You know? And
absolutely.
So it's not a hard leap to make.
No, and the other thing is, again, Saul stopped Jesse from doing the thing that he's been doing, which is numbing himself from all of this pain and all of his despair with drugs, as he's done his whole life, right? He stopped him from getting high. And because he stopped him from getting high, he was able to be awake enough to put it all together. And I think that is actually very realistic, that in that moment he could suddenly awaken to everything that had happened and how deeply he had been betrayed and manipulated. Of course, he doesn't know about Jane yet, and frankly, I don't see how that ever comes out. There were no witnesses.
Although the fact that Aaron Paul, Vince Gilligan keep mentioning that has maybe the worst thing that Walter is keeping from him makes me think it's if it doesn't come out, it has to sort of ironically not come out, you know? I think that has to sort of rise up again in some form.
I think it does, and the interesting thing is that when Walt raced to get his gun, when he ran in, I thought for a moment maybe he's coming here to protect Skyler because he thinks if Jesse's response may be, I'm going to take away the only thing that you ever cared about, and that's your family, and I'm about to take them all. And of course he sort of was trying to destroy his life. We know that he doesn't because of the flash forwards and he doesn't burn down the house, but that was his instinct. Now, might he calm down, see a picture of the family, and decide to go sort of work with Hank instead? I don't know, you know?
I mean, that's the thing, is there's 5 more episodes. So even though we left off on this huge cliffhanger, there's still 5 episodes to go. There's still room for Jesse and Hank to start working together, because certainly the Jesse at the beginning of this hour who would never have worked with him is a very different Jesse at the end of the hour.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I wanted to mention my favorite line of the episode. I've seen some people say it made them hate Marie more. I loved Marie for saying, why don't you just kill yourself?
Yeah.
I thought, again, it's a horrible thing for her to say, but we are now dealing with you know, Walter White is such a horrible person, it was her kind of laying her cards on the table saying, if you're really being such a good guy and you really want what's best for your family, why don't you kill yourself?
And you know what? Honestly, this whole episode was about the truth, whatever it is, will out. And in that moment, that was her emotional truth. Die.
Yeah. So much to talk about. I think that you guys have plenty to talk about in the comments as well. We'll be back next week. We'll be back on Tuesday thanks to the holiday weekend, but we'll see you then, guys. Thanks.